He'll make things beautiful. I'll go in the. Let me go in the middle, so I can talk to both of you guys. I'll go in the middle.
Yeah, so you can face both of us.
Oh, fair point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Mic test. Hey guys,
Testing.
everyone. Thank you for
Testing.
hanging out. Thank you for stepping by.
Testing. Let's try this one. Test. All right. How's yours? Guys, we need to fix Noah's mic.
Mic
please.
check.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, good.
He's got it.
Make sure you're loud so everyone hears.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to kick this off. So first, I'll do the introductions. I do a show called The Roundtable, and it's on Twitter Spaces. We have about 50,000, 70,000 listeners per episode, so it's a pretty big show, and I try to cover everything in the space, and I try to talk about things that most people don't discuss, things that are not boring, things that matter. And I try to bring different sides of the coin every time. So if I'm talking about NFTs, I don't just bring all the NFT people. I bring the Bitcoin people, the Ethereum people, and they all fucking argue the whole time. And I'll try to do this today as well, and I'll do it tomorrow. So to kick it off, Tone, we'll start with something simple, like something we can all agree on. The market today, like you've come on our show a few times. You've given us great analysis. What's your take on the market today?
So this crypto winter, as people like to call it, the bear market, I think it's lasted a really, really long time. To me, the bear market really started in April of 2021, of 2020, basically. Yeah. No, last year.
Okay, 2021.
April last year, April 2021. And it's now been a year and a half. And Bitcoin bear markets just don't last longer than that. So I do believe that the bear market is going to end this quarter, most likely this month. But before it ends, it may just crash one last time. So right now, I am in a cash position waiting to go in hard at 22, 23,000 or catch it at around 14. But around this price, if you're going to buy it and hold it for the long term, it's as good as ever. If you're more of a short-term trader, I think there is still too high of a possibility of final capitulation. But next year, I'm expecting an amazing bull market.
But you said one thing. The bear market started in April last year. Most people would say it started end of last year. No, October, I think.
Right. So in November, we had a slightly higher price. And as a trader, as a technical trader, whenever a price comes back to its all-time high after a long break, that is as bullish as I normally get. And I got faked out. A lot of other people got faked out. And if you, in hindsight, when you look at the structure, even though the price had a slightly higher high, it wasn't significantly high enough. And I'm not sure exactly what drove the price back in that November, but I have changed my mind on that, and I'm now seeing that the bear market actually started in April.
Okay. Noah, you guys have discussed projects on your channel on Whale Coin Talk, and you've done this on our show as well. So any thoughts on the market, but more importantly, where's your attention now? We saw DeFi kick off this bull market. Then we saw focus move to NFTs, and NFTs started with art, then PFPs. Now everyone's talking about in-game assets. What's your focus?
So I certainly agree with Tone. I think that
Closer to your mouth.
Closer.
Yeah.
I certainly agree
there
with Tone. I think that we're probably going to see the final capitulation sometime towards the end of the year or maybe the beginning of next year. I don't necessarily agree that the bear market started in April of last year, and I would love to hear Tone explain more into detail why he believes that, because really what we saw starting last September was, and I compare it to 2017 when there was, Bitcoin was running up insanely. There was a crash, and then there was a crazy another bull run. Now, Bitcoin didn't break the previous, or it made the same all-time high that it did, I believe, earlier in April, but we saw a crazy altcoin season. We saw projects like Olympus DAO do a 50x.
Do you think we could have that again in the next bull run? Are you looking at altcoins, or are you looking at other assets like NFTs?
I was just looking. So for me, the bear market started in November, December, when we started to see an initial crash, and then over the course of the next few months in 2022, we eventually saw Bitcoin get as low as 17.5K. So I'd be curious to know why Tone believes it started in April of 2021.
It's more on a technical analysis side. When I look at the charts, it's more in that realm. And yes, the NFTs and DeFi market was still pumping strong going into the end of 2020, going to the end of 2021. But when I reflect on everything going backwards, yeah, the Bitcoin market was already on a decline.
And the next question is, where's your focus now? I can kick that off. So at IBC, our focus is on two main things, and I hope that brings you value. So number one is in-game assets. I've talked a lot about this, and I'd love to hear Tone's disagreement on this point. I think we're going to go back and forth. But in-game assets is something that really fascinates us. It's a bit tricky, though, because an asset doesn't mean it has to go up in value. An asset means it has to be used. An asset is for utility, not speculation. So if you have a game, and in that game, you have, let's say, I'm just going to use guns because it's a very easy example. Why would you buy a gun expecting it to go up in value? You buy a gun to use it, to take over land, whatever. So in-game assets alone is tricky. Tokens gives you exposure to the entire ecosystem. So we're more interested in tokens. And again, we'll get Tone's take on this in a bit. And the other one, so in-game assets is one, and metaverses in general is something we're really bullish on. And the second one is social tokens. So I made our biggest investments about a week and a half ago into the biggest social token protocol. And it's a concept that really fascinates me. The ability to tokenize and give value and allow someone to trade another person's reputation. Just fascinates me. Tone, with two things. What are your thoughts on what I said, and what are you interested in the space?
So I have no problem with in-game assets. I think it's fine. I don't have an issue with that, and they could be worth value within the game. We saw that long before Bitcoin and blockchain came along. These kinds of ecosystems existed. The issue that I have is a world of 1 billion different tokens. I don't see that as an efficient world. And while right now the space is really, really new, and the ability to create a token that will have speculation in it, whether the creator of the token wants it or not, and 99% of the time, the creator of the token wants speculation because the creator of the token controls the token and has the majority of the token. And I've just seen way too many instances where people don't get in as insiders, and they tend to lose a lot of money. So I am just very cautious on the, creating a token with speculative value part, and I have no problem with in-game assets, but it's the currency. Why can't you have an in-game asset that people can? I mean, Bitcoin is going to be the universal currency. And there's no reason right now. Well, okay, let me back up a little bit. One of the main things I loved about Bitcoin when I got in is that I saw the vision that the world of 120 different government currencies around the world could all go away, and everyone could use a currency like Bitcoin that nobody controls. But we ended up with a world that instead of having 120 government currencies plus Bitcoin, we have 5,000 additional currencies, because when Bitcoin paved the way, it became so easy to create your own money. And this is where a lot of confusion is happening right now.
Before we go to Noah, do you think having too many tokens is not good for the ecosystem? Is that a fair statement, Tone?
Well, I don't think it's an efficient system. I think in that system, few people get very rich and a lot of people get hurt. So there's very few examples that are done very ethically and in the right way that try to avoid speculation in the token itself. But I barely ever see these projects.
And what I'm going to do, everyone, is in a bit, I'm going to convince Tone on the value of NFTs. We've been through this on Twitter. If I achieve this, I'm a god, just to say that. Noah, your thoughts on what we just discussed?
Yeah, so I'm going to preface what you said. I do think that Web3 gaming has a bright future. Currently, sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, so currently the way it is, play to earn, I don't think that the way it is right now really works because people are playing a game in order to earn an asset. I was a big gamer growing up. I was a professional World of Warcraft player. So I understand the value of those in-game economies. I think that once you can take a game like WoW and you can integrate it onto or integrate it with blockchain technology, that's where the real magic happens because people are going to spend their time playing these games anyway. People are going to go onto black markets and purchase gold. People are going to purchase accounts. So why not create a MMORPG like World of Warcraft where people that spent their time playing it from 2005 to 2007 and want to quit the game or take ownership of those assets. A lot of those assets took hundreds and hundreds of hours to earn. Why not give them the option of selling it on the open marketplace to someone who's a collector, to someone that wants to pay real world value for it? Because it's happening anyway in gaming black markets.
Right, but it's the real world value that's now becoming very debatable. When people earn all these play to earn projects that are becoming very popular in the last 3 to 6 months, they're earning in a token that the creator of the game created, and it costs the creator nothing to create it. The case for World of Warcraft Gold, I mean, that took a decade to develop into something, and it was unique. And I just don't see uniqueness. I see everyone copying their own code, changing the name, changing the logo. And while the first, 10, 20 play to earn projects did well on hype and speculation, right now, the only ones that are going to do well are the ones with very popular influencers, either actors, singers, or the new wave of social media influencers. If you don't have someone like that on board, I don't see how you can succeed.
So I completely agree with Tone. The current state of play to earn it's nonsense. It's a lot of copy paste. It's a lot of people.
It happens with it's part of evolution, no?
Well, correct. I agree. I think this needs to happen. This is an important chapter in order for us to reach where we want to reach. But a video game, first and foremost, needs to be fun, needs to be engaging, and people need to want to play it because they enjoy putting time into it. The tokenization of assets is icing on the cake, right? So you go basically WoW. It took, I think, 5 years to build WoW. Gold is a hyperinflationary asset in World of Warcraft, yet people pay for it anyway. People go on the black market and they buy it anyway. So why not create a marketplace, a legitimate marketplace, where people can exchange their dollars for the tokens that people are putting their time and earning?
I want to ask, who's bullish on play-to-earn games in the audience? One, all right. Who's bearish on play-to-earn games? Not a fan. 50-50. Actually, more bearish. Cool. All right, so let's see if I kind of...
How many changed their mind in the last 10 minutes? Raise your hand.
Nobody.
Just
all right,
checking.
Cool. So we're split. Let's see. Now everyone's going to raise their hands in a minute. So I agree with both Noah and Tone. The current model is unsustainable. Okay? And even the games themselves agree because people need to play the game because they enjoy it. They don't need to play the game to make money because that's how a Ponzi scheme is built. So we agree on that point. Second one is both Tone and Noah made the point that it takes time. 5 years for World of Warcraft Gold to have value. Is that what you guys said?
Well, the Warcraft franchise was over a decade, as Tone mentioned. But Mario, I will say this though: there are people, there are farmers in World of Warcraft that are playing to earn. Venezuelan farmers in the Philippines that are playing World of Warcraft, just to earn gold to sell on the black market. So it currently exists. That happens. Again, the game, but the overall video game needs to be something that a global audience is interested in putting their time into.
Yeah, like if I was doing a keynote now, what I would do is I'd ask whoever put their hand up to be a bear on play-to-earn games, I'll ask you why and answer that point. Because I think Tone is not a bear. He's mentioning the obvious things. If I'm wrong, tell me. He's mentioning the obvious things. It takes time to build a game. There needs to be a purpose for the token. Noah said there needs to be other reasons for people to play the game. I'd be an idiot to disagree with this. The games themselves would disagree with them. When 99% of games fail, 90% already failed, 9% are about to fail. So it's part of evolution, but I think there's room for games to exist. They exist. All we're doing now is we're decentralizing the ownership of the assets because you can move them from one world to another. Kind of goes to the point. We discussed this a few months ago. People loved it. It was one of the biggest shows we did because we went back and forth on the value of NFTs. As a concept, the owning something virtually, owning a digital asset without an entity saying that you own it, as a concept, are you pro or against?
I'm pro. I don't have I can elaborate, but I'm pro. So I don't have a problem with NFTs at all. I think NFTs have existed for a long time. NFT stands for a non-fungible token. This could be a physical thing. It could be a fully digital thing. Right now, we're in a fully digital world. The plane ticket that was in your cell phone that you scanned to get on a plane to come here is an NFT. It is a non-fungible token assigned to you and only you on a centralized database run by the airline. That is not a great token because you can't resell it. You can technically resell it to someone with the exact same name as you, but otherwise you can't resell it. So you're just taking that concept with the ability to resell it. And now it becomes a twofold question. One is the database that the NFT is on top of. Is it really decentralized? Or is someone telling you that it's decentralized and you have no ability to actually verify and prove it? To me, Bitcoin is the only decentralized layer. So you have to build your NFT on top of Bitcoin. Otherwise, I will always question your technological claim that I'm the actual owner of the NFT, because to me, even Ethereum is a centralized database like AWS. The second part of the NFT is that because it's a fully digital asset, it does not take a lot of time or effort to create an NFT. You can basically spit them out every 3 seconds. And while I understand the value they may have, I question the collector premium that these NFTs draw. Because even with the best artist alive today, his work, it took him a decade to get to that level. And it's really going to accelerate in price after he's gone and he's no longer able to create more. So I really question the collector premium on a JPEG that takes 3 seconds to create.
I'll let Noah go out right after, but in brief, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tone, or Romy, how long do I have? Let me know, just check so I don't go overtime. What Tone just said is that 10 minutes is the concept of digital ownership, actually owning something virtually without having a central entity say you own it. Just like I own this phone because it's in my pocket, because physics allows me to put it in my pocket, and we agree that means it's mine. He agrees with that concept as long as it's on a decentralized blockchain, which according to Tone right now is only Bitcoin, which is not a bad argument to make. I love a lot of blockchains. I'm invested in a lot of them. It's a fair argument. And we agreed in the show that Ethereum, potentially others, are towards, in your opinion, going towards decentralization potentially, but they have a risk of not getting there, correct?
Well, no. I thought that mining was the most decentralized thing in the Ethereum blockchain. A blockchain is, to me, to make a decentralized blockchain, you need 3 things. Decentralization of coding, the ability for any user to run a node almost for free to validate their own transactions, and mining. Those are my 3 elements that a blockchain needs to be decentralized. Ethereum just got rid of the mining. It's almost impossible for you to run a node. It doesn't sync very well. It's way too much data. And coding is decided upon by a single entity. So that is why I think Ethereum just had a huge leap towards centralization by eliminating mining versus the other way around.
I agree with everything you said. I guess the only counter argument I can make is that I believe for the next 4 years at least, the ETH rhetoric is going to be a bit stronger as far as the mainstream is concerned, just because of the high, quote unquote,
very possible, very possible.
Right, because this the whole high energy usage of Bitcoin, which I actually think that the way that proof of work is designed is to incentivize miners to use as low cost electricity as they can. So miners are trying to switch to renewable sources of energy, solar, wind, hydro, trying to get electricity costs as low as possible. I think Bitcoin will ultimately be the winner, but I do think we'll get to a point where Ethereum comes close to the market cap. I don't ever think it's going to flip it, but who knows?
So real quick, one last note. So I used to do a news show every morning on my YouTube channel, and we don't really proof of stake to us is the old way of running any system. So to us it was proof of work and proof of news. As long as you can maintain proof of news, your token and blockchain will continue to do well. Once you're no longer able to compete in the proof of news department, your blockchain and token is in trouble.
So my next question is, hey, you're getting a clap. I didn't get a clap. So, by the way, I was watching his show when I first got into crypto. Who remembers Stone from the old days when he first got into crypto? Yeah. There you go. That's how you and Jimmy Song.
Yeah, me and Jimmy Song. Before that, it was me, but it was great that Jimmy Song joined.
Back when we felt crypto was like we meant something in crypto because it was such a small ecosystem. Now I can't keep up. Now you got the world of NFTs that don't know anything about. I had someone tell me 2 days ago, no joke, he's like, Mario, Solana would not exist without PFP NFTs. I'm like, holy shit, he doesn't even know anything outside the PFP ecosystem. It's insane. But then again, we're completely outside the PFP ecosystem, not me anymore, but you are. Most of you, I'm guessing. That's your loss. Trust me, it's worth it exploring all the different ecosystems. Talking about ecosystems, Noah, you kick this off first. What do you find interesting right now?
With the space as a whole?
As a whole. Like I mentioned in-game assets and social tokens. I was going to say, I'm interested in Bitcoin and things being built on top of Bitcoin, but I'll leave that for Tone. So I'll let you go.
Yeah, so I think I'm in the same camp as you. I'm very interested in Web3 gaming. I'm very interested to see a lot of these bigger studios come in and build legitimately good games and find a way to create asset ownership and tokenization that's transferable to real life value, but doing it sustainably and doing it in a way where we don't see but we don't see cases like with Axie Infinity. We don't see cases like with Axie Infinity, where a lot of people get in up here and ends up losing their money because it's a new game and it hasn't really been fully developed yet. I think that what else interests me, you wanted to talk a bit about soulbound tokens. So before I got here, I went and read up about them a little bit.
I'll just tell. And look it up, everyone. Soulbound tokens. Soulbound. So cool. Explain.
Yeah, so I went and read up about it a bit more because I had heard it in passing, and the term soulbound actually comes from World of Warcraft. So in a dungeon, you go into a dungeon, you kill a boss, it drops items. Those items are soulbound to your character, and so the idea with a soulbound NFT is it's bound to your private wallet. And I think some just high-level use cases for this is, let's say that you graduated from Harvard. You can have your Harvard diploma represented as a soulbound NFT.
ID, medical records, criminal records.
Criminal records. And this soulbound token cannot be transferred. And this way, you don't have people forging diplomas. You don't have people forging documents. And so, I mean, I think a lot still needs to be sorted out with respect to soulbound tokens. But that really does excite me, and I'm more interested to see how it's going to, what the use cases are with respect to the crypto ecosystem as a whole, because I think that's where we'll see the initial use cases. I think the real world use cases are going to come afterwards.
I would love to comment on that because I'm actually on the other side of that. I don't see that as a use case, to be honest with the audience, because there's two things. If your digital asset is on a real decentralized blockchain, like Bitcoin itself, you are responsible. Right now, if you hold Bitcoin yourself, you are the bank. That means that if you forget your password, if you did not back up your private key, you will lose that Bitcoin and you will lose all the money in that Bitcoin. Now imagine if those are your medical records, or the deed to your house, or your diploma. It is gone. You will not access it. Nobody else will access it. If somebody else can access it and give you a backup of it, then you don't actually own it. Someone else also has control of it. So also, if it's a real asset in what we refer to as the meat space versus the digital space, like your land, like your home, it's like, oh, I have the deed to this home on the blockchain. Well, if some government invades your country, they're not going to care that it's on the blockchain. So if it's in real space and it can be confiscated physically by a bigger enemy, then having it in the blockchain doesn't actually matter. And then just because it's in a blockchain doesn't mean that it's true. It just means it's an immutable record, which is why voting on the blockchain is not actually going to work, because you can put a lie into the blockchain and now it's just stuck there. So we're still looking for these use cases. And all of this was discussed and debated over a decade ago when Bitcoin first came out, and all of these ideas started to come along. And the Bitcoin developers are continuing to just focus on the use cases that have a higher probability of success, which is basically trying to fix the global money, trying to scale with Lightning Network for small transactions. And because Ethereum has become this behemoth in smart contracts, which are still debatable whether they're needed or not, Bitcoin developers built a layer called Liquid Sidechain, which is on Bitcoin, and it can handle smart contracts as well. So I expect future tokens and NFTs to be built on top of Bitcoin because it is the ultimate decentralized anchor.
All right, why do you get claps? Stop it. No, I get claps. All right, so I'll end it with the following, because we got 2 minutes. So what I want to do is end it for the audience. Like, one thing you can tell them to bring them value on their journey across the space. So I would say, is something I said earlier, explore the ecosystem. Like I said the same thing to the NFT guys. I'm like, guys, you're in the NFT world. Look into DeFi, look into layer ones, look into Bitcoin, understand it. For people that look down at the NFT world, don't. Trust me, don't. They're a small community that's growing, a lot of money coming into the space. Look at Yuga Labs valuation, 3 billion, 3.5. Doodles, 750. Azuki's, who knows Azuki's at all? No, you don't. Azuki's 2 billion, or I think it's like 1 or 2 billion, and none of us know it. That's how big crypto has become. Explore all the different ecosystems. That's what I try to do, because it's freaking cool. And the next, if everyone's looking at what's going to be the next hype, it's probably going to be something that none of us are looking at. Just keep that in mind. None of us were looking at NFTs back in 2018. Almost none of us. So that's my 2 cents to end the panel. Tone, any
real
final
quick
words?
to end it?
Bitcoin.
Yes. Bitcoin, I think it will revolutionize the world, and it can also be an investment. Everything else in the crypto space is speculation. So definitely do all the research possible, and before you put any kind of money in it. And on the latest trend of play to earn tokens or other tokens, if you're starting to build this now, you'll probably be too late, because there'll be something new in 3 months from now. So everything is changing so fast. You got to stay on top of it.
I agree with a lot of what Mario said and a lot of what Tone said. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, although I like to play devil's advocate oftentimes and argue the other side of the coin. My nugget of advice would be to read, watch, digest a lot of content, learn as much as you can about the space. There's a lot of interesting things happening, and I wouldn't just take 1 or 2 people's insights. I would try to get a broad spectrum of insights. And if you want to have skin in the game, obviously investing is great. I wouldn't try to wait for a bottom, DCA into the market, and try to build something, right? I working on something myself. I'm building a Web3 media group with a bunch of other people, fantastic team. So try to build something in the space and don't try to time the bottom. The same people that were screaming 10K, or the same people that are screaming right now 10K, 6K, 14K were the same ones that were screaming 100K, 200K, 250K. So just DCA if you believe in the tech, and yeah, best of luck.
And before we end it, just massive shout out. I don't know if anyone's done this already. The TDeFi team, I swear, these guys are beasts. Rishab, Gaurav, Atik, where's Akhilesh? Any project there, speak to TDeFi. I'm not affiliated anywhere other than being friends. These guys are beasts. I appreciate you guys having me on the stage.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mario. And by the way, please visit to TDeFi Pavilion tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. for a big surprise from Mario. We won't disclose it now, but it's a big surprise. And there would be more than just a panel discussion. Now let's hear from Kevin about how